Hi, Miss Johnson here. We're going to talk about rhetorical appeals today. How do you persuade someone to see things your way? The Greek philosopher Aristotle, he had some really good ideas on how to persuade people. Among his most powerful techniques were what he called the three appeals. These were designed to help an audience to accept his argument. Aristotle called these three appeals ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos appeals to the audience by asking them to trust the person who is making the argument. Pathos appeals to the audience's emotions, asking them to believe because they care. Logos appeals to the audience's sense of logic and rationality, asking them to believe the argument because it makes sense. Using these appeals can make your writing or your speaking more persuasive, and if you can spot them when they're being used or misused by others, you can protect yourself from being manipulated. Let's examine the three appeals more closely. First up, ethos. One way to win your audience is to convince them that you're trustworthy, knowledgeable, and well-meaning. You can build ethos by referencing relevant experience, by explaining your credentials, or even using good sources to show that you know your subject. When presenting an idea, dressing professionally will boost your audience's confidence in you. When writing, making sure that your documents have a professional or academic tone and are error-free can also enhance your ethos. Next, we'll address pathos, the appeal to emotions. These appeals often engage positive emotions like joy and hope, but other times, the arms of an angel. Okay. You know this commercial when they bring the puppy on or the puppies. No, please. Pathos can engage negative emotions as well. However, in academic writing, a simple tug on the heartstrings is not enough. To use pathos effectively, you need to incorporate or include vivid imagery and intentional, emotional, and impactful adjectives and verbs. Much like the commercial where Sarah McLachlan is singing, trying to convince people to make donations to the Humane Society. Academics, people who teachers, professors, students, can support their arguments most effectively with logos. Logos is an appeal to logic and rationality by building an argument with facts, figures, and well thought out reasoning. By appealing to the audience with logic, you draw your conclusions as rational, rendering the opposition as less persuasive, sometimes even as irrational. Not all conclusions are easy to prove, and it's up to you to make the case and convince your audience. While many arguments rely on one or two of these methods, some of the most effective arguments use a combination of all three. A little bit of ethos, pathos, and logos. The most important aspect of persuasive writing or speaking is to create a believable line of thought that your audience will follow. If you do it carefully, they very well might arrive at the same conclusion. Successful writing to you, and thank you so much for watching.